Hello, my name is Steve Bondani and today we're going to discuss regression analysis. This presentation has been brought to you by California Intercontinental University's Business Research Methodology and Quantitative Statistics through the instruction of Professor Nigel Basta. Our agenda will consist of the following. We will conduct 3 regression tests, conclude the findings in APA format. We will talk about a few articles related to variable correlations and how they relate to this course, followed by a summary, and I will leave you with references to further investigate this topic. The first regression analysis focuses on debt and income. Can we predict an individual's debt by knowing their income? The null hypothesis being tested states that the regression coefficient is 0. The alternative hypothesis states that the regression coefficient is non-zero. The results: no significant regression was found. The beta resulted in negative 0.05, the R-squared was 0.00, and the p-value was 0.535. Relying on an alpha of 0.05, the p-value was much higher, therefore this test fails to reject the null hypothesis, and we can conclude that we cannot statistically predict an individual's debt by knowing their income. The next regression analysis looks at the question, can we predict an individual's savings by knowing their income? The null hypothesis states that the regression coefficient is 0. The alternative hypothesis states that the regression coefficient is non-zero. The results: a statistically significant regression did emerge. The beta was 0.91, the R-squared was 0.82, and the p-value came in less than the alpha at 0.000. Thus, the test rejected the null hypothesis. Savings is predicted to increase as income increases. Further, the 95% confidence interval for beta is 0.09 on the lower bound and 0.11 on the upper bound. It does not contain 0, hence lending the support to this prediction. The final regression test examines the following question. Can we predict an individual's portfolio value by knowing their savings? The null hypothesis states that the regression coefficient is 0. The alternative hypothesis states that the regression coefficient is non-zero. A statistically significant regression emerged with a beta of 0.28, R-squared value of 0.08, and a p-value of 0.000, which is less than the alpha of 0.05. Thus, the test rejected the null hypothesis. We can conclude that the portfolio value is predicted to increase as savings increase. Further, the 95% confidence interval of 7% on the lower bound and 25% on the upper bound does not contain 0, hence lending support to this prediction. Throughout this course, our class was provided with articles to read that discuss null hypothesis, correlation testing, chi-squared tests, and regression analysis. The following articles were used to conduct this test and determine the results. I found the first article, Research Methods in Psychology, does well to explain the importance of null and alternative hypothesis testing. An in-depth discussion is conducted to describe how null hypothesis tests are prepared, how to explain the results, and the relevance of the data. One key takeaway from the article is the importance of sampling errors and misrepresenting the data collected. The next article was written by Mary McHugh and evaluates the importance of the chi-square statistic and its relevance to nominal variable relationships. The exhaustive measurement of variables and their impacts on each other helps researchers to confirm or reject the existence of a relationship, how strong the relationship is, and how significant the results are. McHugh covers how to interpret the data and draw conclusions or make predictions based off of the findings. The third article hypothesis test for regression slope, thoroughly covers the topic of linear regression testing, or relationship between two variables. The author simplifies a process of performing a regression test through a four-step approach. State the hypothesis, formulate an analysis plan, analyze the data, and interpret the results. Throughout the course, these three articles helped me to understand the importance of the null and alternative hypothesis testing. They covered in-depth discussions on how to set up testing variables, depict relationships, uncover the significance values, and understand the strength of the relationship and how to make inferences based off of the findings. The authors of these articles broke down the topics in a way that makes the subject manageable and easy to understand. I was able to feature the articles in multiple discussions and various tests throughout the course, and would recommend them to students focused on learning statistics and correlation testing and measurement. In summary, after performing 3 regression analysis tests, we can conclude that we cannot predict an individual's debt by knowing their income. We can predict an individual's savings by knowing their income, and we can also predict an individual's portfolio value by knowing their savings. To better understand these processes, how to set up null hypothesis testing, analyze the results, you can review the following articles: Research Methods in Psychology, the chi-square test of independence, and Hypothesis Test for Regression Slope. Thank you for your time and attention throughout this presentation on regression analysis. I hope you enjoyed the information. At this time, please feel free to submit questions or comments regarding the material covered. If there are no questions, the next slide will leave you with references for research that supports this presentation.